We'll start with a prayer. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Vinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Is it visible? My screen? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And screen is visible
Yes, sir.
properly? So today we will discuss about research process. We have learned so far so many things in the research, and now actual research process will start from today. We have learned terminology yesterday, many important words we have learned yesterday, and in this we will learn how a research take place to complete it. So the first thing is in research process. Just hold for a moment. So in a research process, it from selecting the research area is very important. Before, this is a vast area. Means there are a lot of things in the world and it is very difficult to choose what kind of problem or issue or a situation you would like to choose to conduct a research. So selecting a research area is very important. So what researcher do is it is expected the state the research areas that want to research reason, and second thing is the reason. It could be due to professional and personal interest in the area. The whole process of doing research become easier if one is genuinely interested in the areas of the research. And it is never too early to start thinking about the research area for your dissertation. Formulating research, how will you decide your research area? See, how I decided my research area, I tell you my experience. I was very confused. So, I took my interest, subject of my interest. So, there were two areas of my interest. One is psychology, and another definitely is yoga, because I have to do my research in subject yoga. So, uh, my second interest area was psychology. So in a psychology, because psychology is a very vast topic, and it is difficult to mean select particular area in which I can take the variables. Like I need to complete a research, I need two variables. One is independent variable, which is experimental variable, and another is dependent variable. On that we have to do a research. So in psychology, I read a lot of papers. Before psychology, I read about intellect. I read about sleep, so many things. But I was not reaching on my goal. So finally, I found a word, a procrastination. So I read paper. Means I found so many papers. I searched for it. I found it, and I read. I read at least 40, 50 research papers on procrastination. So finally I came to that on this conclusion that I will go for research on relationship between yoga and procrastination. But here is again one problem was coming, that yoga is also a very vast and a deep thing. So I need to select, means I need to be narrow the subject. So uh, I have selected complete yoga module, but it is means I selected traditional yoga module, and that will be for the 30 minutes only. The module was only 30 minutes. So my variable was traditional yoga, and the independent variable was procrastination. So in this way, I took yoga and psychology. I have narrowed down it, and finally I came to traditional yoga and procrastination. So in this way, you have to be think about research process, and in research process, you have to first discuss the area, on which area you would like to complete your research, right? So this is the way how you can select your area of research. Second thing is formulating research. So formulating research, three things are very important. What three things? First is aims. So a research aim is a broad statement indicating the general purpose of your research project. It should appear in your introduction, at the end of your problem statement, before your research objectives. What is objectives are more specific than your research aims. Whatever your aims you have selected in your research, the aims are is only for the general purpose of your research, right? And objectives are more specific than it. Then they indicate the specific ways you will address the overreaching your aims which you have selected for your research. Research questions or developing hypothesis. So here is again one thing came in our mind after selecting the areas. How will you select your problem, question, or a title for your research, or developing, because from the problem or from the question you have selected, or a title you have selected for your research, from that you have to develop a hypothesis from that problem or a question. So here again, it is very important, because if you have learned about the type of, there are three types of application in research. So according that application, you all three types you have to go with a research. So these so to decide your problem, or to find your research question, it is very important, okay, which type of research you would like to do. It is depend on your variables. Means you have selected variables like yoga and procrastination, or sleep, or whatever it is. So how will you complete how will you explain the relationship or a cause or effect, whatever. So for that purpose you have to select a your research question, and your research question will explain what kind of your research will be, right? So this is what about research question and developing hypothesis. We'll discuss hypothesis later. Conducting the literature review. After that, you have decided your research aim, objective, and research question or hypothesis. Now, the third thing came in process is conducting the literature review. Literature review is very important before starting any kind of research. What you need to do, you have to read lot of research papers, lot of articles, many theses. You need to first read, and after reading it, after went through the literature review, you will come to decide your research question. After that you will be able to find your research problem or hypothesis or your variables. It is very important. Before deciding your research question, you need to do a literature review. But if you have already decided, and after you are if you have decided your research question, so you will need to you will need to complete the process of the research. So in the process, again you have to go with a literature review, because literature review is very important in the process or in the writing of the research. So this stage is the longest stage in the whole research process, right? The literature review is starting even before the formulation of the research objective and aims. The research needs to check if exactly the same research problem has been addressed before. The main part of the literature review is done after the formulation of the research objective and aim. The researcher has to use a wide range of secondary data sources such as newspaper, books, magazine, journals, online articles, etc. Now, after the literature review, the important thing is selecting methods of data collection. You have completed your literature review, you have selected your aims, objective, hypothesis. Now, the important question means how will you go with your research. The design is very important, and in that design the tool is very important, and the tool will be used you will use here to collect your data. So data collection method are to be selected on basis of analyzing the disadvantage and advantage associated with many alternative data collection methods. Remember it, right? Data collection method are to be selected on the basis of analyzing the disadvantages and advantages associated with many alternative data collection methods. There are so many type of collection of data methods like interview and survey, questionnaire. Many things are there. Readings from device, secondary or primary, right? In research involving primary data collection, in depth discussion of the disadvantage and advantages of selected primary data collection method need to be included in the methodology of a research, right? So now data method of data collection I have explained here. The fifth thing is primary data. So collecting the primary data. Primary data collection needs to be preceded by a great level of preparation, and pilot data collection may be required in the case of questionnaires, right? May be required in the case of questionnaire. Primary data collection is not a compulsory stage for all dissertation, and research can skip this stage if are conducting desk based research. After that, data analysis. You have selected your method, you have selected your design, you have selected your type of research, you have selected your samples, variables, everything you have selected, and you have collected your data through your tools. After that, the main thing came is data. So data analysis is very important because this analysis will give you the result of your research. So it is a very important process of the research. Data analysis plays a crucial role in the achievement of the research objective and aims. Data analysis methods vary between primary and secondary studies, as well as between quantitative and qualitative studies. After that, reaching conclusion. So you have analyzed your data, you have completed the results. Now you will conclude your research. So in a research procedure, reaching conclusion relate to the level of achievement of research objectives and aims. In this final part of your dissertation or thesis, the researcher will have to justify why she thinks that the research aims and objective have been achieved. This is what about conclusion. The conclusion also have to cover research suggestion and limitation for the future research. Next, we will discuss about steps of research. I have explained you in the process that there is a process of a research, that what it includes the aims, objective, uh, formulation of hypothesis or selection of research question. After that, conducting the literature review. In after literature review, you have to select a method of data collection. And in data collection, there is a two type of data: primary data and secondary data. Primary data is basically completely new data which you collect through your device or tools, right? And secondary data is that data which is already available, that the thesis have already done, the research have already done, and whatever the data available in the um, uh, domain, that data you use for your research is the secondary data. After that, collection of the data. After collection of the data, the next step is data analysis. Data analysis give you the result. Here in data analysis, you will do it with the help of what you call statistics. And after complete your data analysis, you will go for a conclusion. And after conclusion, there are steps of research which I will explain you in this slide. So steps of research is see, first, research is a structured, scientific and step by step approach, we all know, to reach towards our definitive goal, to get our goal or solution or finding which is unknown for now, but we have other things and discoveries with us to reach that specific goal. It is a journey from the known towards the unknown. And we have already read the meaning of the research and what it says, that re and search. So generally re means again and search means to find out. Hence, research is a process of both scientific discoveries and knowledge gaining that involves a good knowledge of the known facts and exposure to the sources. So, see, research is a process of steps used to collect and analyze information to increase our understanding of a topic or an issue. Who said this? This is given by Creswell. There are several steps to carry out the research process which are systematic and to be followed in that particular order. So there is, to learn the steps of the research, there is a acronym. What acronym they have given? I love research development and formulation in 3D to get results. So what I denotes? I denotes identification of the research problem. Then lit L I love. So L here given literature review, then R given research objective, and in the next formulating F given formulating a hypothesis. So these are the acronyms, and you can learn it by this. I love research development and formulation in 3D to get the result. So in steps, we will first discuss about identification of research problem. See, this is the first and foremost problem in the process. A reasonable knowledge about the subject and information about a chosen topic is required here. What I have discussed, my personal experience, that how I select my research question, what it is written here. This could be further broken into following steps. What are the following steps? The main consideration behind the topic is selection should be interest of the researcher, right? Selection should be the interest of the researcher. The magnitude of research proposal and its manageability, right? Magnitude of the research proposal and its manageability, it is very important. What is the relevance and also the amount of data available to carry out the research. All this question and these words are very important before selection of your, or before identification of your research problem. So read it and learn it, and also discuss it with your friends and colleagues. Next step came is literature review. This is the second important step of the research, which helps and substantiate all the upcoming steps. The process of literature review covers searching the existing literature and reviewing it, and developing a theoretical and conceptual framework. So literature is very important to select your problem. And after selection, it is also very important, because from the literature review you will learn what the work has already been done, the research you are doing. The main objective of this stage are here. What are the main objectives? First is research objective. The objective, see, during starting this class we have discussed about research objectives, that objectives are for the research in a whole. But when you individually going for a research, so you also have to select objectives for your individual problem, right? So this research objective is different from that. So the objective are the goals one set up to attain at the end of the study. This tell us the main objective as well as the subjective of any research problem. This make the researcher clearer and action oriented. The goals generally start with the words such as to determine, to find out, to explore. This is the objective. And in our research, individual research, when you select, when you will give your objective, so the objective will start with to determine, to find out, to explore, right, etc. To study. The objective should be such that it communicates the main aim of our finding to other person. An example for the same is to find out the effect of stubble burning on Delhi pollution. So this is the kind of objective example. The concept of variable also comes into the picture. The independent variable, also called as experimental variable, their values don't depend on any factor. Instead, they became the cause of another variable, right? The dependent variable are those whose value is determined by the independent variable. Means if you perform yoga module on the dependent variable may be a disease, may be anything. And if you apply a module in which you are giving if you are giving a module for 30 minutes, the impact may be different. And if you are giving it for 40 minutes, the impact will be different. Means that the calculation of dependent variable will change. So yoga will be the cause for the dependent variable. Example is also given here. When the income of an individual is raised, his disposable income increases too. In this example, the income level of the individual is an independent variable, whereas the disposal income is an independent variable. Now, next thing come in picture is formulation of hypothesis. So, if you have selected your problem, the next from the problem you will select your hypothesis. The researcher have many questions that they want to ask. What questions? This might include prediction about the possible relationship between the variables that have in mind for the research. The truth completely is not available to the researcher at the beginning, so he makes assumption. Hypothesis is just only assumptions about outcome. That assumption is called the research hypothesis. So if you have selected your problem question like yoga will impact on sleep, so this is just a assumption. Now from that assumption you will decide your hypothesis. Like you will take a null, I means if yoga will not yoga will positively impact on sleep, yoga practice will positively impact on sleep, so this is your hypothesis. Or negatively impact or effect on sleep is the another hypothesis. So this is the type of hypothesis. The assumption or fact we already know is called the null hypothesis, and the one we want to test is called an alternative hypothesis. Remember it, the question may come from these things. The assumption or fact we already know, the assumption or fact we already know is called null hypothesis, and uh, the one we want to test is called alternative hypothesis. The primary function of a hypothesis is to bring focus, clarity and specification to the research proposal and to make the study more objective. Preparing the research design after completion of your hypothesis. Now you have already completed your hypothesis. The next step will come preparing the research design. Once we have the hypothesis in place, the next step to draft a design strategy for the research proposal, which include questions like how long you wish to carry the research. Means nowadays research is a very money and time taking thing. So you should complete your research within a time frame or a time given. So it is very important because it includes time and money. What will be the timeline, what will be the methods to collect data, and also what type of data you want to collect. So this is what design is included. The design could be said as the overall plan and structure of the research in the coming days of the research. The design could be on the basis of the nature of the investigation, experiments or non-experimental study, right? So there are a lot of designs mentioned in the research methodology when means you all will learn in future. And the investigation is maybe experimental or non-experimental, and on its nature the research design will be selected, will be selected by you when you will complete your research. After that you have taken the research design. Now the important thing is data collection in research steps. So the type of data one needs to collect and how the researcher wishes to collect it. There are many methods of data collection. Some of them are the data is collected either using probability sampling or non-probability sampling. That includes convenience sampling, judgment sampling, quota sampling. In see we in the research methodology, when you have complete your design will tell you that you need to collect your sample, you need to choose your samples for your research. So these are the sampling types to select your sample from population or from your universe. Data analysis. After the collection of the data, the next step will come is data analysis. This step of the research is the analysis of all the data collected and collecting it through techniques such as probability or random sampling or the non probability sampling, which is then analyzed and processed using editing and coding. A large amount of data collected has to be stored in the form of tables, chart or graphs. This data is then analyzed using manual data analysis, also data analysis using computers. Hypothesis testing is also done here using various methods like t-test, f-test or chi-square test. I think you have already read about these things in your PG course, during your PG course. After the after the process of data analysis, you will go for the generalization and interpretation. So here in the generalization and interpretation, what you need to do is the hypothesis is tested and the researcher may arrive at the generalization of the topic. Here he is prepared to build a theory from all the observation and work done up to the stage. It is possible that the research has no hypothesis to go with. So here he makes interpretation and develop a general idea that could be subsequently used in further researches. And after this generalization and interpretation, what comes next? Report writing. It is very important. All the research articles, all the research papers and thesis, dissertation, all all these writings have a report format. And that report format, what it includes? It includes title, it includes objectives, aims, hypothesis, then it literature review, and after literature review there will be a research methodology, and in the research methodology you need to give your samples, the samples, data collection, data analysis. After that, the report writing include that results, and after results, limitation and conclusions, and after limitation and conclusion, there will be bibliography and a chart and list of tables and charts. So this will be the main head points of a report writing, and according to that you have to write your thesis. So this is what about the research steps. Any question? No questions, right? So can we done for today? Can we say good night? Hello, so to nahi rahe?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, right. So who will come for the closing prayer? चलिए मैं कराता हूँ. Close your eyes. We'll say 3 times Om, then Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. 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 Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. शुभ रात्रि सभी को.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.